Champaign Yard Office, Yardmaster Campbell Robinson, and he's informed Jack Rutten, looking over his list, his turnover, getting pretty close to the end of the day here. See if we can't get Jack to give us a video of hand signals here in a little bit. We have Yardmaster Robinson preparing his turnover for a second trick yardmaster. It's relief man. After checking the accuracy of his yard list and the work that's been done all day with Foreman Roten, make sure everything's accurate. He's got his book there in front of him, tells him what he's got in all his tracks and any unusual instructions or car orders or other pertinent information needs to be kept down there. Yardmaster will get his list and mark on there their destinations, and then he's going to shove all that work over there to the foreman. And he's going to mark where he wants to put them and sort them out in the different tracks and classifications later to make up trains later in the day.
My name's Jack Wilson, engine foreman on the Illinois Central, 38 or 9 years. Steve Sigmund has taken the picture, and his idea would be that I give him hand signals that we use on the railroad out here in the yard before we got radios. Daylight hand signals are given in proportion and size to the distance from the engineer or the relayer of the signal that you're giving the signal to, such as the things you learn on the railroad is a backup signal, which is a circular signal, or a perpendicular signal is a go-ahead signal. That is given to the engineer at a distance when he cannot see which direction your hands are moving. The reason I say this is that when he is close enough that he can see your hands, this would not be a backup signal. This would be go away from me signal. This is a come to me signal in daytime signals when he could actually see you. If he was a distance away and you had a piece of paper in your hand and you were going around, he couldn't see which way your arm was going, but you would be given a backup signal. Come ahead signal would be this way. This is a backup signal, the back of your hand. Stop signal, any down signal with your hand. It can be both arms, it can be one arm, a piece of paper in your arm. Any violent signal that an engineer sees, he'll stop. It means stop. What are the first three signals that you learn? Now then, after you learn those, then you have an easy signal. Easy signal can be two armed, given in this fashion, or take a piece of paper. He's engineer's far away. The farther away he gets, the bigger the arc. If he's close, or if he's real close, he can see you just go like this. But if he's real far away, you give a big signal so he can see it. Some of the other signals you learn after you work for a couple of years. If you want to go to a certain track like the pocket, this is the pocket. That means anybody see that? That's where we're going, pocket. We have a car that something wrong with it, it's got a bad ladder, or the pin lifter is bad on it. This is a bad order. You see a carman, you give him the signal, he'll come over and he'll look the car over and he'll put that order tag on and goes through the truck. If you have a man down in the field and you want him to get on, come up to you, talk to him, just give him this. And he'll climb on a ladder right up to you. You get off, you want him, maybe there's a switch you want him to get, and he's on the side of the car, and you want him to get off, just give him this. Just get off, sir. Some of your night signals, any circular signal given at night to an engineer or a relayer is a circular portion at night. Perpendicular given to the engineer or the relayer is a perpendicular up and down signal. Or any overhead signal like this is you don't want him to stop and you don't want him back up or whatever direction you're going. You want to just slow down. This is an easy signal, or slow down more than you're going before. This is probably would be at the lantern at night. This is a night signal. Daytime signal, you have something in your hand you slow with. Downward signal with the lantern at night, given at a 90-degree angle to the engineer who you're facing. As a stop sign. Lantern signals horizontal with the ground at waist height, back and forth like this, is a signal for an area to set the air. After you get the air and you've got it set, and you give them a release, another air sign. If it releases, then any signal with the lantern, or especially a fusee, any fusee thrown in the air means highball after the signal prior to that. If you made a successful coupling, and you stopped him, and the coupling has been made, and the guy makes the air test, and the air's come through, and he wants you to go ahead and proceed on down the track, he'll throw a fusee up in the air, that means highball, take off. Numerical signals. This is when we didn't have a radio, and we had 5-man crews, and we had a head man between you and the engineer, and he was blowing pins, and the guy beyond you, away from the engineer, was the man who lined the switches, most of the switches, and done the coupling of the tracks. If you were all distance away, you had to, instead of trying to scream and get the message across, we all had hand signals, such as going down the numbers 1, 2, or 2 on 2. If your man's far away from you, you would get 2 with 2 arms. 3 is like this, not to be confused with set a handbrake, which if you was picturing a guy setting a handbrake, this is what he'd be doing. He'd be up on the ladder, stands, setting a handbrake. Such as a car got out of control and you wanted your field man to set a handbrake, he would go like this, and he would get on and set the handbrake and stop the car. That would be, 3 would be down here. 4 is the 4 fingers. You put your hand on the thumb so that the man at the distance can detect 4 and not 5. They know if you got your other hand up there, it's 4. It's 5. Just take your hand like this, 6. Okay, say I was to take a car, I want to go to 6. I would give my field man this 6, and the head man, I would give him 1, and then I would kick a signal to the engineer. The head man would pull the pin on 1 car, and it would go into 6. 7, hand signal for daytime, for 7, is palm down, horizontally, across your body. That's 7. 8 is your right hand on your hip, or your waist. 9 is up to your right shoulder. Most of these signals can be seen for some distance. Usually it's about a block away. Sometimes you can see a guy giving the signal. 9, 10, 11, right down the body, 12, 13, 14, 15. At night, your numerical signals, when you can't see what you're doing with your hands, you do it with the lantern. And I call 1 a dit. Okay? Same thing, you got a guy down the field in one way and a guy pulling pins ahead of you. You give him 1. That's a dit. And you will say you want, I'll go down the numbers with the lantern. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just take your lantern like that. 5. 6 would be around, and 1. That's 6, the dit. So if I was to kick a car to 10, I would give my, or you can go like this to your man that you want the signal. You don't give a signal like that to the engineer, because that would be an easy signal. You get these as smaller signals. And then this here is an easy signal to the engineer. This here would be a 5 to your field man. This here, 2 of them would be 10. So you give him 10, and then say you want to give 2 cars to 10, you give your headman 2 dits. Back in hand signaling days, we didn't have the list. Only the conductor had the list, and what was going on was usually only realized by the conductor. If he said 2, that's what the headman told him on 2. Now everybody's got a list. If there's any mistakes, we can usually catch them before there is a mistake. Kick signal then. A kick signal is any energetic signal in the direction that you want the car to go. This is a backup at night. Say I was wanting to kick the car. Kick the car is to raise the speed to the speed that you want to think the car needs to get into the track that you're kicking it to. So say he's about 10 car lengths away, I would give a kick like this. If he was 20 cars away, like this, and then some guys get really carried away and they go like this and they go around like that. That's a kick signal. Or that's a backup kick signal. You're backing up and all of a sudden the engineer gets a signal like that, pulls the throttle back, and he kicks it. And he'll go till you get a stop signal. If it goes too long, you'll stop anyway because you don't want to get carried away. Kick signal. Now, if you was going ahead and you're on the C yard, you're coming ahead on the kick signal, you'd get to come ahead like this. But if I wanted to get a good speed on the car to kick it up from say 1 up to 10, the signal would be directly at the engineer. That would be a kick signal. That's a kick signal. An eat signal. It comes time to eat. It's this. That's all you have to do. See, this was coffee. Coffee break. It's not to be confused with eating. Go home, when it's all over and you're done, if the foreman gives you a signal like this, thumbs up, you're done. Cut-off signal, if you're in a track and you want to come out with 2 cars, and you give the field man come out with 2 cars, you can get it cut off, head, 2 cars. Or if it's toward the rear end of a cut, you say cut off the rear 2 cars, you cut off the rear 2 cars. So there's several signals right there. That's a cutoff signal. This is a rear car, or any rear, what you want to give a signal. This is a head. Pole, engines are tied onto a cut and you want him to shove that track, you give him a shove signal to the field man. Shove it in, 5 cars. If you want him to bring the cut out, just give him a pull signal. Pull. Shove it. Get on. Get off. Stop. Set a handbrake. So what you're doing is communicating by hand. Call.
This is an excellent presentation. I know you give signals like to cross over if you want a guy to cross over to another track.
Crossover this is the main crossover. It could be a road crossing, shove over the road crossing by a car. Or you're going to cross over after this guy goes by, and he goes by and we're sitting there waiting, and you give him a cross. If we're going to go out point over to C yard, we're going to cross over to C yard, and I'll point over to C yard. And you know we're going to go down here, I'll run around and come up C yard.
And I know you give signals for guys to line switches back if you want a man to throw
Yeah.
a switch.
If you wanna, if a guy's standing down at the other end of the crossover and you just stand there and you don't know you wanna get across the crossover, which we do out here for
Right.
one-man crews, and he throws the signal down here, the switch, electric switch, you get the inside switch, you ask him if he want you to line this in, and you just give him this signal, he'll shake his head, you line that in for him. If after he goes by, he wants you to line him back, he'll say line it back. Or if you go by 10C switch up there and you're going out of the 10C, and when the engineer goes by and you want to tell him that you want to stop and line that switch back after he goes by, you look at him, make sure you got eye contact and give him line back signal. He'll know to look back and stop on the stop signal.
I know sometimes when you want a guy to take a break or sit down or something like that, you're going to be gone for a little while. You give him a signal.
There's another signal.
That's the one everybody likes to get.
Say that we're working along and there's a train comes in and we shove in a track like happened this morning, and we're going to get a little break because he's going to have to come in and double. So I'll tell you to shove. This is another
In
signal.
the clear, yes.
Shove, this means in the clear. And to clear means that you're out of the way of all traffic and you're not fouling nothing. Shove in the clear. And that
Let's see.
means take a break.
Well, yes.
See, I'll do that.
Well, this is excellent. There's a lot of these that I didn't know, and this is a art that's going to be lost. Jack's the oldest switchman, the last of the professional switchmen we have at Champaign, and he's probably the only one, in all honesty, that I'm sure that would understand all the signals he's given me in this presentation right here.
I haven't given.
Well, I'm sure of that too. But this is it's been very helpful. I'm going to try to get some copies of this made and out to some guys when I finish this up. Because this is indeed a sign language, buddy. They knew it. They had to use it. It's the way they had to communicate before radios.
You gotta realize that without lantern, if you had a 100-car train, and we were switching in the yard, and back then, if it was an emergency, we had 100 cars, that the field man would be throwing switches, the foreman would be pulling pins, the head man would drop off in the middle of the yard somewhere, and he'd be passing the
Relays.
foreman's
Signals.
signal, and maybe when I have seen it, when the fireman had to get off around Bradley because of maybe misty weather, and you couldn't see the signal too good.
Visibility.
He would get off at Bradley and pass the signal of the headman. You'd have three layers of signals. And they all had to be, the important part was, they all had to be
Had to
passed
be understood by
the
everybody.
same way that they were
Exactly.
given. If you had an easy signal given slow, and everybody had
Give
to
it
give the
slow.
signal the same way. If he
Yeah.
gave a kick signal, everybody had to give this kick signal to make
Right.
sure the engineer got the right signal.
Well, this is
That's the reason why you always want to give a true signal, because if you gave wild signals, all signals will route. And you wanted to portray a quick stop sign. The engineer's gonna say, well, that's just another wild signal, I ain't gonna stop that quick. So you always want to be sincere, how true of the signal that you gave. You want an easy signal, give him an easy. If you want him to really stop, or you want him just to stop, and he sees this, that means there's no emergency I can see. But if he gives you a quick stop, or like this, a washout, which is called a washout, that means he uses his air to help him
Stop
get
as quick
stopped.
as you can.
That's called a washout. That's another signal.
That's right. I want you to stop right now.
You don't want you to mess around, you want you to stop.
That's right. Because you can't say it with your voice. You got to do it with your hands.
No.
There's no voice to be heard.
And
That's right.
even though you got radios, sometimes you can't hear the radio. And if an engineer knows his signals, he can look down there and I got a big piece of paper, I can still work,
Yeah.
as long as he knows what I'm
That's
talking
right.
about. with my signal. I think that's about it.
Well, Jack, thank you very much for taking your time to do this. Like I said, I'll get some copies of this made, and you'll certainly have one of them. I hope this comes out. I think it probably will. And, looking forward to reviewing this. Like I said, it's me and Jack switched a lot of cars over a lot of years and raised a couple of families there pretty well. It's been a pleasure to work with him all these years. He's got a few left, more than most of them. He's in tremendous shape yet. And I'm going to I hope to get a video of him switching on the lead so you can see what these guys do. It's pretty interesting. It's hard work. They earn their money, that's for darn sure. Thanks again, Jack.
You bet.